Calling all little admirals, it's almost time. All hands on deck. We're about to weigh anchor and set sail for today's learning adventure. All aboard, all aboard. We're going to learn and explore. All aboard, all aboard. Learning can be fun for you. All aboard, all aboard. Sailing on the ocean blue, discovering things you never knew. All aboard. Welcome to Admiral Hour. Yeah! Welcome everyone to the Admiral Hour. I am Miss C. I am so excited to see all the little admirals joining me today to sail the ocean blue and dock at new ports of learning. Let's get ready to be anchored in excellence. Hello there, little admirals. We are now sailing to the career port, where you are going to learn about different careers and what you can do to brighten your future. Good morning, little admirals. I am so excited in our career port today to introduce to you Mrs. Gray. She may look a little familiar to some of you, and she's going to tell us about her career and the responsibilities throughout the day. So what is a day in the life of Miss Megan Gray?
Good morning, students and little admirals. I'm happy to be here with you. The day in the life of Megan Gray starts very early. I am at work at 2:30 in the morning, but that's because I'm a morning anchor and reporter. And we go live at 4:30 a.m. and we don't go off there until 7 a.m. So the first thing I have to do when I get to work is go through 2.5 hours of news content. It's essentially broken up into 5 half hours, and we look through the shows, and I help write some scripts and rearrange a few things, maybe help edit a few things if necessary, but mainly I need to go over the news content, make sure I'm familiar with it. So I am ready to go when it's time to go on air, and we're out on the news desk. Now, during normal times, things are a little different right now, and I am doing a little bit more working from home after I'm finished behind the news desk. But normal times, I may be asked to go out and pick up a camera and shoot a news story that's going to air later in the day. So it's a very unpredictable job from day to day. You don't know what's going to be next. So it's a lot of fun, but it does start very, very early. And right now I am working Monday through Friday. It's an 8-hour shift. So if I start at 2:30, I'm done usually by 11 at the latest.
Oh, wow, that's amazing. So what skills are needed for your job?
Okay, a lot of skills. You would never think that you may need math one day, but you certainly need math when it comes to broadcast journalism. For instance, right now with what we're dealing with this pandemic, we get numbers from the state, and we need to use our math skills to sort of calculate some percentages just to help our viewers understand it. Of course, English, grammar, the English language or reading language skills are always very important. Storytelling, what we are storytellers as broadcast journalists. We have to be able to tell stories and understand that we make an impact in people's lives. So you definitely need that. Time management is everything too, because I actually started out as an editor and then a producer. And as a producer, our biggest role was time management. You are responsible for getting in a show on time and out of a show on time, because you only have a certain amount of time before it goes back to network or other programming. So that is a vital tool that we use each and every day. But there are a lot of critical thinking skills and thinking on your feet when you're out on a live shot and running your own camera, and you just have to really be able to manage, multitask a lot of things at once. But I think something that is a very useful skill in this career is you have to be a people person, not only because you're sharing people's stories, but you have to deal with people in different situations every day.
Oh, that's amazing. Would you be able to share with our little admirals what type of education or training that they would need to go into your field?
Absolutely. A college bachelor's degree is certainly helpful and preferred. If you would like to get a career in broadcast journalism, I would say that the training, you will get the most hands-on training when you're in college, and you can do an internship working with the station and getting a first perspective of what it takes to create a newscast, and not just focusing on this side of the camera per se. I started out on the other side, and I can't tell you how vital those skills came to me now in my career. I started out as a tape editor, so I learned the skills of editing. And then, like I mentioned, I worked as a producer, and I still actually use those skills every day to help with our newscasts. And so the training, really, what you learn in the classroom is very important. Watching and observing newscasts, and learning what goes into the production side of things. But you also will get invaluable training when you actually immerse yourself in the job with an internship during college. That was by far the most educational part of my experience. And job shadowing early on. It's never a bad idea to ask, if you have someone to go through your school, to ask if you can job shadow for a day. I mean, it's hard in our times right now because we're not really allowing that. But when we're allowed to have our little admirals back and joining us, we would love to have someone come join us for a day just to see what it's all about.
Oh, well, thank you so much. What would you say is the most rewarding part of your day?
There are a lot of things, but I'd have to say it all boils down to making a difference in people's lives. As broadcast journalists, we are here to inform, educate, and really to share everyone's story. And in some shape, way, or form, that's going to touch a person's life. And to be able to be a part of that process is humbling. It's also very, very rewarding to know that we can change lives. We make an impact in everyone's life.
Oh, absolutely. Now, I'm sure we might have a few little admirals out there that are saying, oh, that is what I want to do when I grow up. So what could you tell our little admirals that they could be doing right now to prepare for a career in broadcast journalism?
Absolutely. You know, everybody has access to a phone and a camera these days. I would say practice sharing stories, whether it be something happening in your neighborhood or with your next door neighbor, even in your own house or with friends. Create stories, create sort of a memory book of files that you can keep track of, documenting your own life or your friend's life. And that is excellent experience now if you'd like to just sort of dabble with that. And then you can use even on your smartphone or download some free software for editing and just sort of learn what it takes to piece things together. That's really a great way to start. And again, since it's all about storytelling, you'll be gaining experience doing that and also having a little fun along the way. But like I mentioned too, the job shadowing is an important part of it too, just to sort of see firsthand what goes into it, because it may not be everything you're expecting.
Thank you so much, Ms. Grove, for sharing your time here on the Admiral Hour with us, with our little admirals. And now we are going to have some stories that may showcase your career a little bit. So we're excited about that. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
TV Station, written by Jennifer Colby. What is a TV station? What will the weather be like today? What is happening in your town? You can turn on a TV news show to find out. A TV station makes the news show. Many people work at a TV station. TV is short for television. Most TV shows are broadcast from TV stations. They are recorded by cameras and shown later. News shows are live. They are happening as you watch them. The people on TV are talking at the same time you hear them. TV station workers. Many people work at a TV station. You do not see all of them on your screen. The most important person you do not see is the director. The director decides how each show is put together. The director decides what you see on your screen. Who else works at a TV station? The producer asks guests to be on a show. The producer also decides what stories to cover. Reporters talk about news stories. Videographers record those stories and local events. Many things happen all around. People want to know about them. People want to see these events on TV. Some TV station workers drive vans full of equipment. Others fly helicopters. They help reporters and videographers get to news events. They carry cameras, microphones, and other equipment. Writers write the news stories. They make sure the stories are correct. Editors put film together to make a story. They need to fit the stories into the right amount of time. News anchors are in front of the cameras. They read the stories. There are other workers at a TV station. Meteorologists report on the weather. Other reporters talk about sports and traffic. Technicians run the sound and the lights. Graphic designers and photographers create the images you see on the screen. Do you want to work at a TV station? There are many different jobs at a TV station. Are you interested in working at one? You can get ready now. Practice your writing skills. Practice talking in front of other people. Learn more about cameras and recording equipment. Would you like to visit a TV station? Ask if you can take a tour. See what each worker does. Notice how workers solve problems. How do they work with each other? Do you want to be part of the action team? Breaking news, alien alert, written by David Fedrizicki. We interrupt this story to bring you a special report. Now for a News 3 special report. We go to Chad Newsworthy reporting live from 100 Acre Park. Good morning, everyone, and what a strange morning it is. According to eyewitnesses, last night an alien spaceship snatched up bears, moose, rabbits, and squirrels from this very meadow. This half-eaten carrot is a sure sign that some of these creatures were taken away right in the middle of dinner. A scout troop was camping in a nearby field and saw the whole thing. Girls, what exactly did you see? They were lifted, all of them, into the spaceship. It happened right behind us. We're totally freaked out. It was awesome. They took my stuffed bunny. And it wasn't just our forest friends. Down the road, a farmer told us this. Darn aliens carried off our cow Bessie, our goat Billy, and little Piglet. Our chickens are so scared they stopped laying eggs. If I see those aliens, I'm going to give them a piece of my mind. Oink. Speaking of seeing aliens, we talked earlier today with UFO expert E.T. Bonehome. While there are many theories, no one knows for sure what form the aliens might take. They could look like this, or maybe even this. But, hey, that's a close-up of my dog. How did that get in there? Meanwhile, many miles above the Earth, ribbit. And now, this report from the zoo. The aliens took several of our animals, but they failed to take our most annoying resident, Ralph. Annoying Ralph, annoying Ralph. Right now, let's go to a live press conference with Mayor Luke Atme. Good afternoon, my fellow citizens. I'm not here to talk about my election campaign, but to express my deepest concern for those poor, defenseless animals. Yes, I'm running for re-election, but that's not what's important today. Even though they can't vote, I care about each and every one of those animals. Will they be back before Tuesday, Election Day? Police have roped off this meadow, but that hasn't prevented folks from stopping by and taking a look. Just ask my friend Jed. Meanwhile, ribbit. Reporters from all over the world have gathered here tonight. One thought is on everyone's mind. We are not alone. Look, in the sky. Could it be? Police are asking everyone to keep back and remain calm. The next few minutes will tell us if the extraterrestrials come in peace. There are no words for this moment. The human race holds its breath. But wait! The animals have returned? With goodie bags? Little Piglet! Bunny! And there you have it, folks. Our furry friends made the first contact with beings from outer space. Now we know we are not the only party animals in the universe.
Now, little admirals, it is time to go to the art port, where you will learn all about the fun and exciting world
Good morning
of
and
art.
welcome to Miss McKay's Art Corner. Yet again, here I am sitting with you. I wanted to talk to you today about books, not that are up here in my child's room, but books that I have. And I just shook the screen a little. Ooh, look at this big giant book. If you can see, it says The History of Art by Jansen and Jansen. And as you can see, also, it's got this ragged edge. It's got all kinds of little post-it marks on there. It's torn up. That's because it's well used by me. Now, I am an art teacher for the Gulfport School District, and this is the book that I used many, many years ago when I was in college. And so instead of looking at a children's book, let's look at my book. Now, I'm going to lift it up a little. It's so thick, it's got all kinds of stuff in it. It's got stuff from ancient Egypt, all the way to European art, to German art, to Russian art. I mean, it's got all kinds of stuff. Towards the end of the book, see, I'm kind of towards the end. This is the beginning, and this is the end. There's a section of art called Impressionist art. Now, Impressionist art is where it looks like it's kind of not so detailed. It's got a lot of paint strokes. So let me show you one of these. If you look right here, this is one of Paul Cézanne's, and this book's kind of heavy. If you look right here, I'm going to scoot up. Both of these pieces of art have lots of paint strokes. You see all the little paint strokes? Look at his face. He's got all kinds of paint strokes in his face. And over here, the fruit and look behind the fruit. All of that is a bunch of little paint strokes. Impressionist artists love to make art with a bunch of paint strokes. It wasn't so detailed and crisp. Well, the artist I want to talk to you about came out of this movement called Impressionist, and he started experimenting with a different kind, which became known as Neo-Impressionist. And this is it right here. His artwork is famous. Straighten it up. This is Georges Seurat. His artwork right here. It's very famous, and if you look, still has some paint strokes, but they don't really look like paint strokes. They're actually dots. What? Yes, he used dots. Look at that tree. If you see that tree real good, you can tell it's a bunch of little bitty dots. Now, this artwork is called, when you're looking at artwork, usually underneath it, it tells you who the artist is. So this says, Georges Seurat, A Sunday Afternoon on the Isle of La Grande Jatte, and it says the year 1884 to 1886. It tells you what kind of canvas it is, and this says it's oil on canvas, or what kind of medium it is. It could be watercolor, it could be mixed media, but this one's oil on canvas. But this one was famous because of the dots. That's what he used, dots, to create his artwork. Now, this technique was new. It wasn't strokes by a paintbrush. What it was dot, 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 dot with paint. Now, what he was trying to do was if he put the dots close enough, when you stared at his artwork, it was like they would blend together. So if we look back at this tree that's so prevalent, he did yellow dots and green dots. But oh, did he do green dots? It's yellow and blue dots. And when they got so close together, it made it look like green because yellow plus blue makes green. So that's the kind of the way he did it. He put the dots so close together that when you visually look at it, it kind of merges together. So if you were going to look or try to do a piece like this, maybe you have a paintbrush, maybe you have some paint, maybe you don't. So let's think about a way that we can do this without a paintbrush and without paint. So what I have here, I just picked up some coloring books. This one's Mickey's Roadster Racers. Just a regular coloring book, nothing fancy. I also have another little coloring book. My first coloring book, nothing fancy, just a coloring book. I wonder if there's a way where we can make this into dots, just like George Seurat did, and use the technique called pointillism. Now, if I open my coloring sheet, you can see I started coloring this with crayon. And I tried to add some little colors. I tried to add some blues and some purples in the vase, and I had the green leaves and the orange sunset, the orange center for like a sunny color. So I started there. But that's not pointillism. That's not dots. That's just regular coloring. So what if I took markers instead of crayons, and they have these really cool little tips on them? I wonder if I could make artwork with dots with the marker. What? Let's see if I did it. Here we go. Oh, wow. I colored my color sheet with dots. Dot, 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 dot. Pretty neat, huh? Now, if you look, I did the suit in red, and his feet or his boots are in black. Pretty simple. I tried to add some orange and red in his face, so that kind of made it look a little bit like skin color, but it wasn't too good. So let's see if we can do another one. Oh, my lion. Look here. Oh, now look at my lion. I did him mainly in yellows and oranges. And underneath where there would be like kind of some shadowy areas right here and on this back leg, that's a shadow. I tried to put some darker colors in it. So it's got dot, 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 dots. See all that? Pretty neat, isn't it? I like it. So we had a Santa. Oh, I called this a lion, but look, it says it right here. It's a puma. I might have colored him the wrong color then. Oops, we all make mistakes, don't we? Even people like your teacher sometimes. Let's look at this one. This one's a watermelon. Now, I want to spend just a minute or two here on the watermelon. If you look at this watermelon, I did use George Seurat's technique, and I did make it dot, dot, dot. But can you see where I changed colors? I'll let you look just for a second. See anything? Oh, you think so? You're right. If you look right here, it's only green dots. And then as we move along, I added green plus blue dots. And as we move along some more, green plus yellow dots. So you can even change your dots to make it have some shape to it, or to have it change like it's different textures of your watermelon or different color sides. So then we have just the green dots, the blue and green, and then the yellow and green. Then look at the inside. The inside of my watermelon has red. Do you see another color? Oh, I put some blue dots. Red and blue make purple, so it might kind of look like there's a little bit of purple in my watermelon. And then I also added some orange dots, just to add a little bit of orange dots right here, or orange and red. Pretty cool, huh? So you can change kind of the variety of color or the shading of the color of the watermelon by adding different colors. So I added blues and yellows. Let's look at another one. Oh, I like this one. Look at my elk. Isn't that neat? Wow, I added some black and brown for his hooves, and then for his skin, I did it his fur. I did mainly the yellow for the fur, but then look up here. I did browns, a little blacks, and some yellows. Okay, so can you experiment with different ways you can put the dots on your painting? Because that's really cool too. Let's look at one more. My butterfly. Now this is an example of when you use colors that are similar to each other, they might not always show up the brightest. So if you look right here, he's orange in the center, and then I put his a little bit of orange in his wing, but you can't tell the difference too good. So that might not be the best way you need to use contrasting colors that are different from each other. So maybe a brighter color and a different color would have been better. So just like we learned about Mr. George Seurat from my handy book, History of Art, Ratty Tatty, just remember that you can make artwork just like he did with little bitty dots. Thanks so much.
Camera, camera. Helicopter, helicóptero. Lights, luces. Sound, sonido. Photographer, fotógrafa. News, noticias.
Welcome to the home of the app family. Can you read the words in their home? Cap, gap, lap, map, nap, tap, trap, wrap. Bye. See you next time. Keep reading.
Hey little Admirals, are you ready for some learning adventure today? Our next port of call is science.
Good morning. Today I want to share with you Moon, Earth's best friend. This story was written by Stacy McNulty and illustrated by Stevie Lewis. Let's learn more about our moon and why she's Earth's best friend. Look up, look up, look up. It's me, Moon. I'm Earth's best friend. Where Earth goes, I go. We have been together since the beginning. Almost. Let me tell you our story. Once upon a time, about 4.5 billion years ago, a space rock the size of Mars crashed into baby Earth. Big ol' mess. Pieces of rock, chunks of earth, and even lava were blasted into space. This crashed trash came together to make me. a satellite. Actually, I'm Earth's only natural satellite. Natural means not created by Earthlings. Satellite means I circle the Earth. She has thousands of human-made satellites too. They're mostly metal and plastic, not exactly best friend material. Guess that makes me Earth's #1 real sidekick. It takes me 27.3 days to go around Earth once. It also takes me 27.3 days to spin once. Coincidence? I think not. It means I'm dependable. My face always smiles at Earth. You never see my backside. But you probably noticed I look different every night. Fun, right? Check out my phases. I start off as a new moon, and then I become a waxing crescent. Then there's first quarter, waxing gibbous. Then there's a full moon, which doesn't make wolves howl. A waning gibbous, the last quarter, a waning crescent, and then back to new moon, and the cycle starts all over again. Some other planets have best friends too. I am Moon, but I'm not the only moon in the solar system. Jupiter has moons, so do Neptune, Saturn, Mars, and Uranus. Of all the moons, Earth is the 5th biggest moon. There's Ganymede from Jupiter, that's the largest moon. There's Titan of Saturn is second. Third is Callisto of Jupiter. Then there's Io of Jupiter. And the 5th biggest is our moon of Earth. I'll always be Earth's pal, but that doesn't mean we're twinsies. She's bigger, 4 times bigger, and her gravity is 6 times stronger. So the Earth is 24,874 miles around. That's big. The moon is 6,784 miles around. While still big, not nearly as big as Earth. Gravity's Earth is 6 times stronger. Gravity is the invisible force that makes apples fall to the ground instead of flying up into the sky. A cow that weighs 600 pounds on Earth would weigh only 100 pounds on me, the moon. Speaking of cows, Earth has cows, and nursery rhymes starring cows. But a cow has never jumped over me. I'm too far away for even a kangaroo to make that leap. The average distance between Earth and me, 238,855 miles. You could fit 30 Earths in that distance and probably a gazillion cows. It's a long ways away. BFFs help each other out. I keep Earth from being too wobbly. This might be the most important thing I do, and you probably didn't even know about it. With me, the Earth is gently spinning. My gravity's at work. Without me, topsy-turvy. Don't worry, moon gazers, you're never without me. I don't disappear during the day. I'm always here for Earth. You just can't see me when it's super bright out, or when it's cloudy, or when I'm on the other side of the Earth. I can prove I'm always here. Check out the ocean's tides. High tide happens twice a day. Low tide happens twice a day. That's gravity again, my gravity, pulling on the Earth's oceans. I have the best views of Earth, and Earth has the best views of me. But some Earthlings wanted to see me up close. I'm the only other place in the universe where man has set foot, and I do mean man. I'm still waiting for my first female astronaut. I've had 12 moonwalkers and a few left footprints, and some of those footprints are still here. No wind or rain or snow to mess them up. Other things you won't find on me? Oxygen, liquid water, No mosquitoes, which I think is a good thing. No plants, no animals, not even cows. You will find on me some presents from Earth, stuff left behind by untidy astronauts. There's an American flag, nail clippers, a golf ball, a hammer, falcon feather. There's rocks, really big rocks, and even more rocks. Earth and I have so much fun together, like when we play Eclipse. Solar eclipse, I hide sun for a few minutes. We play this game during the day. Then there's lunar eclipse. Earth's shadow passes over me. We play this at night. I'm always here for Earth. I'm always here for you. Where Earth goes, I go. And where Earth goes, you go. Guess that makes us best friends too. Let's learn a little bit more about our new best friend, the moon. We just read Moon, Earth's best friend. In the story, the moon showed you her phases. But it's important to know that the moon is not actually changing the way it looks. It looks different to us because of the way the sun's light is reflected off the moon. The moon does not produce its own light. The moon just reflects the sunlight. So when you look up at the night sky and you see a bright, glowing moon, it's because the sun's light is reflecting off the moon and it's making it glow. I want to show you something you can do at home to help you see the different phases of the moon and what causes them. I have here a styrofoam ball and a pencil. I'm going to take my pencil and stick it in the bottom of my styrofoam ball so that I have a holder. And then you need a light. This is going to be our sun. So I have my moon and I have my sun. My moon is going to reflect the light of the sun. So what you want to do is you want to take your moon and hold it up to your sun. And the moon, you need to turn towards your left to show how the moon is rotating around the earth. So I'm the earth and I'm going to move my moon around me. So I'm going to move to the left. And as you do this, you want to turn off your lights at home. As you do this, you can see that the sun is always lighting up half of my moon. Depending on where the moon is in relation to the sun and the earth, makes the moon look different to us on earth. If I take my moon and hold it directly in front of my sun, this is what we call a new moon. So to me, here, the sun would appear dark. As I turn to the left, I'm going to get a waxing crescent. I see a little sliver of light on the right side of the moon. As I turn a little further, I see the first quarter. As I continue to turn, I see a waxing gibbous. And then as I turn more, I'm completely away from the moon. So now I have a full moon. It's all lit up. I turn a little bit more and I'm going to now get a waning gibbous. I turn a little more and I'll see a third quarter. As I turn a little bit more, I'm going to get a waning crescent. There's just going to be a little sliver of light on the left side of my moon. And then I get back to my new moon phase and the cycle starts all over again. As you do this at home, you can take pictures of the moon or you can even draw it out. Let me show you something you can do at home to make a fun science snack out of this. So we just did a demonstration where we got to see what causes the phases to appear, why the moon looks differently when the moon rotates around the earth. What we're going to do now is we're going to create a yummy snack to show us these phases. And this will help us learn more about the phases and why they're named the way they are. So what you need for this activity is you need a sheet of paper, a marker or a pencil, and then you're going to want some chocolate cookies with white icing. So these are yummy and they'll help us learn about moon phases. So I put my Earth in the middle of my paper. And then since we started with our activity, I started with a new moon with the moon directly in front of the sun. I'm going to put that at the very top of my paper. So I put new moon at the top of my paper, and then we started rotating towards my left. And so to the left of new moon, I put waxing crescent, then first quarter, then I have waxing gibbous, then full moon. So then I start repeating my phases in reverse order. I go waning gibbous, third quarter, waning crescent, and then new moon. Okay, so let's start creating our cookies to look like our moon phases. On my phone, as I was doing it, I took pictures of what each phase looked like to me. So I'm going to use my pictures for a reference. The new moon was all dark. So to create an all dark moon, what you need to do is you need to scrape all the icing off of an Oreo. So take your cookie and scrape all the icing off. And put it, that represents my new moon. And then I'm going to go to my waxing crescent. So my picture shows that I had a little sliver of light because I was moving to the left. I had a little sliver of light on the right side of my moon where the sun was lighting up just a little sliver of the moon. And so I want to create that by grabbing a cookie. And I'm going to take my spoon and I'm going to scrape off everything except just a sliver. And you may have to practice a few times. If you mess up a few cookies, that's okay. You can just eat the evidence of your mistake. I'm going to take it and I'm going to call that my waxing crescent. And so take your pictures and go around and keep adding your cookies to represent the different phases. So as you can see, my cookies are far from perfect when representing the phases of the moon, but they do a good job of showing me what's going on, and they may help me figure out what's going on with the names of my phases. If you look, you'll see that you have two phases that are called quarter moons. You may look at them and say, well, half the moon is lit up at that point. Why is it called a quarter moon? So let's think about this. Your moon is actually a full circle. So when we're looking at the moon, we're only seeing half of the moon. And so the half that we see is only half lit up when it's the first and third quarter. So if we're seeing half of the moon lit up, then that's actually a quarter of the moon that is lit up. So that's why we call it the first and the third quarter. The new moon and full moon, you can see where they get their names. New moon is when it's a brand new moon. Nothing is lit up. That's what we call a new moon. And then the full moon is when the full moon is lit up. And then you have these crescents. We have crescents, and that's when it's a small sliver. And then gibbous is when it's a larger portion. It's more than half of the moon is lit up, is the gibbous phase. Then you have waxing and you have waning. When it's waxing, the surface of the moon, the portion that is lit up, is growing. So that's waxing. When it's waning, that means the portion of the moon that is reflecting light is getting smaller. So once you're all done learning about the phases of the moon and you feel like you've got it all down, then you can sit back and enjoy your moon phase.
Hey, little admirals, I hope you're ready to join me in story time because that is our next port of call.
My name is Christina Oates, and I am going to be reading you a story called A Unicorn Named Sparkle. A Unicorn Named Sparkle by Amy Young. The ad said, unicorn, 25 cents. Lucy sent in the money. She could hardly wait. I will name him Sparkle. He will be blue with a pink tail and a pink mane. A whole day passed. I will put flowers around his neck, and he will let me ride on his back. Another day passed. I will take him to show and tell. Everyone will love him. He might be scared when he first gets here. I will give him a cupcake. Sparkle, Sparkle, where are you? Finally, a big truck rumbled up. It was the Unicorn Man. He left a large box on the porch. It's Sparkle. Lucy opened the box carefully, gently. Chomp! The cupcake was gone. Sparkle, come back! Sparkle, not the underpants. No! He was not what she expected. He had spots. His ears were too long. He smelled funny. Oh, and he had fleas. Lucy put a flower necklace on him. He ate it. She put a tutu on him. He ate that too. He did not want to be ridden. He bucked her right off. He did not want to go to show and tell. Ah! And when he got there, he behaved poorly. Lucy was mad. You are a bad unicorn. She walked away. Sparkle followed her. Stop that. Lucy called the Unicorn Man. Take him back. I don't want him. Okay, but I can't get there until tomorrow. Lucy could hardly wait. Leave me alone. Yuck! That night there was a storm. Sparkle was afraid. Lucy gave him Bear so he would stop pestering her. It wasn't enough. She had to read him a bedtime story too, and give him warm milk to drink. He licked her hand. She patted his head and said, "Don't be such a big baby." His fur was very soft. At last, he fell asleep. The next morning, Lucy watched Sparkle play in the yard. He liked the butterflies, and they liked him. Some boys came by and asked, "What's your goat's name?" His name is Sparkle, and he is not a goat. He looks like a goat. Well, he's not a goat. He's a special kind of unicorn. After the boys left, Lucy watched Sparkle play some more. She had to admit, sometimes he made her smile, and sometimes he made her laugh. The Unicorn Man drove up. Okay, let's load him in. Sparkle did not want to get into the box. Lucy put a cupcake in the far corner. Sparkle loved cupcakes, so he went in. Lucy shut the door. Sparkle asked, "Bruh?" the unicorn man revved his engine and drove away. Lucy yelled, "Wait!" Sparkle bleated, "Bah!" The truck stopped. Lucy opened the door and Sparkle jumped out. He was so excited that he knocked her down by mistake. "Sparkle," said Lucy. "Welcome home." The end. Okay, so in our book, The Unicorn Named Sparkle, we have our two main characters, Sparkle and Lucy. Now Lucy, we're going to go ahead and meet her and talk a little bit more about her because Lucy goes through a lot of changes in this story. So, she is the character in our story and she goes through a lot of changes. So when we're talking about characters, a character can either be an animal, or it can be a person, or it can be a thing that stars in a story. We know that all characters have certain character traits. Now, you have your outside traits. That's your physical traits. That's what we see when we're looking at a picture of something. So for example, I can tell you that Lucy has curly black hair. Throughout the story, Lucy is wearing a dress with yellow polka dots. She has on striped leggings, and on certain pictures, you'll see that she has pink shoes. But while we have outside traits, we also have inside traits, and those are our personality. What we learn based on what the character says, does, thinks, or feels. So for example, we can hear Lucy's thoughts or read about Lucy's thoughts. We can also hear the words that she says. We also know how she's feeling based off the pictures that we're seeing as well. So what we're going to do is we're going to learn how Lucy feels about Sparkle throughout the story. I'm going to show you some pictures, and I want you to think back on the story and think back what was going on and what word could we use to describe Lucy's feelings. And we're going to see how her moods change throughout the story based off what was going on. All right, so let's look at this first one. And I gave it to you already, but looking at this picture, Lucy is anxious. She's anxiously excited for Sparkle to come because she's imagining what it would be like to have a unicorn as a pet. All right, how does Lucy feel in this picture? Let me give you a second. All right, you have that big old smile on her face. She's feeling excited. Sparkle has finally arrived and she doesn't really know what's inside this box, so she is waiting very anxiously. All right, how does Lucy feel in this picture? Lucy is disappointed. Sparkle isn't the pet that she thought that Sparkle would be. Sparkle's not behaving like a unicorn should. And he isn't living up to this imagination, that this thought that she had on what having a pet unicorn would be like. All right, how does Lucy feel in this picture? She's got a really sad face and she's looking at Sparkle like he's doing something crazy. So I would say embarrassed. Sparkle, was not behaving like a unicorn should. In fact, it looks like he's cutting up in front of the class. And even in the background, it says to make good pictures. So Sparkle's not behaving like a unicorn. All right, how does Lucy feel in this picture? She's getting on to him for some reason, so she must be angry. Even in this picture, in fact, it says that Lucy said that Sparkle is a bad unicorn. So Sparkle isn't living up to the pet unicorn that Lucy had imagined having. All right, how does Lucy feel in this picture? I said loving because Sparkle was scared of the thunderstorm. And instead of ignoring Sparkle, even though Sparkle's not the pet that she wanted, she actually took time to comfort him and made her feel better. How does Lucy feel in this picture? She's crying out, "Wait!" And Sparkle's bleeding. "Ah!" She's upset. Lucy has realized that Sparkle is the pet for her and that she wants to keep him. Last picture. Are you ready? So how does Lucy feel in this picture? She's happy. Sparkle is finally home, and Lucy learns that Sparkle is the pet that she needs. All right, so Lucy goes through a lot of emotions, and so one of the things that we're going to do now is we're going to look at how her emotions change from the beginning to the middle to the end of the story. So at the beginning, she is anxious because she's very excited to see what her pet unicorn would be like. She already has a name for him. And when he arrives, she's really excited to open up the box and to see what's going to be in it and what is having a pet unicorn going to live up to what she's expecting. But towards the end of the beginning, she's starting to get disappointed because Sparkle isn't behaving like the unicorn that she had thought she would be getting. He's behaving more like a goat. Towards the middle of the story, she's feeling embarrassed by the things that he's doing. He has fleas, he's cracking up jokes in the middle of class and being silly. He's not behaving like the unicorn that she thought she was having. Then she got angry at him because, again, he was being a bad unicorn. He wasn't being the unicorn that he was supposed to be. Towards the end, though, her feelings started to change. She started to feel love for him because she took care of him when he was scared during that thunderstorm. And then finally, when he was about to go away, she got very upset because she realized that Sparkle was the pet for her. And then at the end of the story, she was happy because she was reunited with Sparkle and she realized that Sparkle was the pet for her. All right, that's it for me. Thank you so much for listening to my lesson and reading the book. And if you enjoyed the story, there's 2 more, a new friend for Sparkle and a unicorn named Sparkle's first Christmas. Thanks for watching.
Ahoy there, little admirals. I hope you had fun at all of our ports of learning today. Hope to see you again real soon. We are anchored in excellence. 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 We are anchored in excellence.